की जय। नितिल प्रविष्टम विष्णुपाद रसतरसतस्मर शिल भक्तिवेदांत वामन गोसाई महाराज की जय। नितिल प्रविष्णुपाद रसतरसतस्मर शिल भक्ति वेदांत स्वामी महाराज शिल प्रभुपाद की जय। नितिल प्रविष्टम विष्णुपाद रसतरसतस्मर शिल भक्ति प्रज्ञान केशव गोसाई महाराज की जय। नितिल प्रविष्टम विष्णुपाद रसतरसतस्मर शिल भक्ति सिद्धांत सरस्वती गोसाई प्रभुपाद की जय। नितिल प्रविष्ट महाभागवत शिल गोक्षरस बाबाजी महाराज की जय। नितिल प्रविष्ट शिल सच्चिदानंद भक्ति विनोद ठाकुर की जय। नितिल प्रविष्ट वैष्णव सार्वभौम शिल जगन्नाथ दास बाबाजी महाराज की जय। श्री रूपनु गौरीय गुरु वर्ग की जय। श्री रूप सनातन भट्ट रघुनाथ श्री जीव गोपाल भट्टदास रघुनाथ चार गोसाई प्रभु की जय। श्री स्वरूप दामोदर राय रामानंदारी श्री गौर पार्षद वृंद की जय। नाम चर्चिल हरिदास ठाकुर की जय। प्रेम से कहो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्री वासरी गौर भक्त वृंद की जय। श्री क्षेत्र मंडल गौर मंडल गज मंडल मथुरा वृंदावन धाय सर्व विश्व विदाति गिरिराज महाराज की जय। राधा कुंज श्याम कुंज की जय। श्री मुनि देवी गंग देवी श्री तुलसी महारानी वृंद देवी की जय। श्री भक्ति देवी की जय। श्री पूर्णमासी योगमाया की जय। श्री गोपेश्वर महादेव की जय। श्री हरिनाम संकीर्तन की जय। अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय। श्री नृसिंह की जय। भक्त प्रवर श्री प्रहलाद महाराज की जय। श्री हरिनाम संकीर्तन की जय। अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय। श्री निताय गौर प्रेमानंदे हरि हरि बोल। ओम ज्ञानतिमिरन्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः। नमो ॐ विष्णुपदाय राधिकाय प्रियात्मने श्रीमद्भक्तिवेदान्त नारायणामिने। नमो ॐ विष्णुपदाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामिनिति नामिने। वंशकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपासिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। नमो महावदन्याय कृष्णप्रेमप्रदायते कृष्णाय कृष्णचैतन्य नाम्ने गौरतिशे नमः। गुरुवे गौरचन्द्राय राधिकाय तदालये कृष्णाय कृष्णभक्ताय तरभक्ताय नमो नमः। यं प्रव्रजन्तम् अनुपेतमपेतकृत्यं द्वैपायनो विरह कातर आजुहाव पुत्रेति तन्मयतया तरवोऽभिनेदुस्तं सर्वभूत हृदयं मुनिमानतोऽस्मि। नारायणं नमस्कृत्यं नरं चैव नरोत्तमं। Sorry, once again. नारायणं नमस्कृत्यं नरं चैव नरोत्तमं. Sorry guys. Whatever. Okay. Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudiraye Shrinvatang Svakatha Krishna Punya Shavana Kirtana Hridantasto Yabhadrani Vidhunoti Suritsatam Nashta Prayeshvabhadreshu Nitang Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavatuttama Shloke Tir Bhavati Naishtaki Tavaivasmi na jivami tvaya vina iti vigyaya radhe tvam nayamam charanantikam. Bhaktya vihina aparada lakshya kshiptashtakama ditararangamadhe Kripa maitam sharanam prapanna vrinde namaste charana ravindam. Bhaja Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaur Bhakta Vrindam. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Right, so the teachers, Shanda and Amarka. Actually, wait 1 second. Let me just see all who's there. Haribo Gargaraji, Madhavi Didi, Raseshwari Mataji, Dandavat Pranams, Radhe Radhe, Haribo. So the final confrontation. The teachers Shanda and Amarka saw the schoolboys being fixed up in bhakti due to Prahlāda's teachings. Being unable to contain the situation, they reported to Hiranyakashipu. Hiranyakashipu became furious and rebuked Prahlāda, "O most impudent, unintelligent, disruptor of the family! When I am angry, all the planets tremble. By whose power are you so fearless to violate my power and worship my enemy?" And Prahlāda replied confidently, "The Supreme Lord is all-powerful. He is not only the source of my strength, but the source of yours and everyone else's too. Give up your mentality of discriminating between enemies and friends. Enemies are imagined only due to ignorance. The only enemy in this world is an uncontrolled mind. One will have no enemies if one controls the mind and senses, conquers the 6 plunders within, lust, anger, greed, illusion, madness, and jealousy, and is equipoised with all living entities." Hiranyakashipu threatened Prahlāda. "Desirous of death at my hands, you are speaking deluded words. O fool! You always describe Viṣṇu as a supreme being who is all-pervading. If he is everywhere, is he not present in this pillar? I shall now sever your head. Let me see how your worshipful God comes to protect you now." And then Hiranyakashipu then struck his fist against the column. From the pillar came a fearful sound that appeared to crack the covering of the universe. To prove the statement of his servants true that the Lord is present everywhere, Lord Hari appeared in a most wonderful form of half man and half lion from the pillar in the assembly. Hiranyakashipu was astonished and studied the fearsome form, his angry eyes, shining mane, deadly teeth, razor-sharp tongue, erect ears, cave-like nostrils, broad chest, waist, and so on. Sorry. Okay, 1 second. Hiranyakashipu attacked Lord Nṛsiṁha with his club, but became invisible when the Lord's effulgence but he became invisible within the Lord's effulgence, just as an insect falls into fire. The Lord captured Hiranyakashipu and then let him slip from his hands, just as Garuda plays with the snake. After a long fight, the Lord killed the demon in the evening twilight. It was neither day nor night, by placing him on his lap, which is neither the land nor the sky, in the doorway, which is neither inside or outside of the house, and piercing him with his nails, which was neither living nor dead, nor weapons. Thus he also kept the boon of Brahma intact, although he wasn't obliged. The Lord uprooted Hiranyakashipu's heart and threw it aside. He then killed the other demons merely with the ends of his nails. Seeing no contestant to face his power, Nṛsiṁhadev sat on Hiranyakashipu's throne. And there's footnotes here. I kind of know what the footnote's going to say already. Just read the purport. Anyway, it's going to say that he felt comfortable sitting on the throne because it was the seat of his dear devotee Jai, right? Jai and Vijay. Whatever, okay. And is also the father of Prahlāda. Anyways, so the boy who pacified the angry god. Several exalted personalities, including Brahma, Shiva, Indra, the Pitṛs, Siddhas, Vidyādharas, Nāgas, Prajāpatis, Manus, Gandharvas, Cāraṇas, Yakṣas, Kimpuruṣas, Kinnaras, and Viṣṇu Parshads, offered their prayers to Lord Nṛsiṁha, but the ferocious Lord maintained his angry mood. And so we ended with the prayers of, I think we ended with the rishis, if I remember correctly. Did we read this verse? I couldn't remember yesterday and I didn't go back. Let me see. Irishaya Uchu. Yeah, we did read this. All the persons present offered their prayers in this way. O Lord, O Supreme Maintainer of those sheltered at your lotus feet, O Original Personality of Godhead, the process of austerity and penance, in which you instructed us before, is the spiritual power of your very self. It is by austerity that you create the material world, which lies dormant within you. Yeah, we already read this. This austerity was almost stopped by the activities of this demon. Now, by yourself appearing form of Nṛsiṁha, which is meant just to give us protection, and by killing this demon, you've again proved the process of austerity. Okay, so we're starting from 44. Shri Pitara Uchu Shradhanino Dibhuje Prasabam Tanujar Dattani Tirtha Samaye Pyatibat Tilambhu Tasyodarana Kavidirna Vapadyalarchat Tasmai Namo Nriharaye Kila Dharma Goptre. So I messed up here. Tatani tirtha samaye pyapipat tilambo. Okay, anyways. Okay. The inhabitants of Pitṛloka prayed, "Let us offer our respectful obeisance unto Lord Nṛsiṁha, the maintainer of the religious principles of the universe. He has killed Hiranyakashipu, the demon who by force enjoyed all the offerings of the Shraddha ceremonies performed by our sons and grandsons on the anniversaries of our death, and who drank the water with sesame seeds offered in holy places of pilgrimage. By killing this demon, O Lord, you have taken back all of this stolen property from his abdomen by piercing it with your nails. We therefore wish to offer our respectful obeisances unto you." Purport. It is the duty of all householders to offer food grains to all their departed forefathers. But during the time of Hiranyakashipu, this process was stopped. No one would offer Shraddha oblations of food grains to the forefathers with great respect. Thus, when there is a demoniac rule, everything concerning the Vedic principles is turned up. All the religious ceremonies of yajna are stopped. The resources meant to be spent for yajna are taken away by the demoniac government. Everything becomes chaotic, and consequently, the entire world becomes hell itself. When the demons are killed by the presence of Nṛsiṁha, everyone feels comfortable, irrespective of the planet upon which he lives. Shri Siddha Uchu Yono Gatim Yoga Siddham Asadhur Aharshir Yoga Tapobalena Nana Darpam Tam Nakar Vidyādhara Tasmai Tubhyam Pranata Smo Nṛsiṁha. The inhabitants of Siddhaloka prayed, "O Lord Nṛsiṁha, because we belong to Siddhaloka, we automatically achieve perfection in all 8 kinds of mystic power. Yet Shipu was so dishonest that by the strength of his power and austerity, he took away our powers. Thus he became very proud of his mystic strength. Now, because this rogue has been killed by your nails, we offer our respectful obeisances unto you." Purport by Srila Prabhupada. On earth, there are many yogis who can exhibit some feeble mystic power by manufacturing pieces of gold like magic. But the inhabitants of the planet Siddhaloka are actually extremely powerful in mysticism. They can fly from one planet to another without airplanes. This is called Laghima Siddhi. They can actually become very light and fly in the sky. By a severe type of austerity, however, Hiranyakashipu excelled all the inhabitants of Siddhaloka and created disturbances for them. The residents of Siddhaloka were also beaten by the powers of Hiranyakashipu. Now that Hiranyakashipu had been killed by the Lord, the inhabitants of Siddhaloka also felt relieved. Shri Vidyādhara Uchu Vedam Pritag Dharanaya Anuradham Nyashe Dharagyo Balavirya Dripta Sayena Sankhe Pashuvar Datastam Maya Nṛsiṁham Pranatasma Nityam. The inhabitants of Vidyādharaloka prayed. Our acquired power to appear and disappear in various ways according to varieties of meditation was banned by that foolish Hiranyakashipu because of his pride in his superior bodily strength and his ability to conquer others. Now the Supreme Personality of Godhead has killed him, just as if the demon were an animal. Unto that supreme pastime form of Lord Nṛsiṁha we eternally offer our respectful obeisances. Shri Naga Uchu Yena Papena Ratnani Sri Ratnani Hritana Tarvaksha Patane Nasam Dattanandanamostute. The inhabitants of Nagaloka said, the most sinful Hiranyakashipu took away all the jewels in our hoods and all our beautiful wives. Now, since its chest has been pierced by your nails, you are the source of all pleasure to our wives. Thus, we together offer our respectful obeisances unto you. Purport. No one is peaceful if his wealth and wife are forcibly taken away. All the inhabitants of Nagaloka, which is situated below the earthly planetary system, were in great anxiety because their wealth had been stolen and their wives kidnapped by Hiranyakashipu. Now Hiranyakashipu, having been killed, their wealth and wives were returned, and their wives felt satisfied. The inhabitants of various lokas or planets offered their respectful obeisances unto the Lord, who were relieved by the death of Hiranyakashipu. Disturbances similar to those created by Hiranyakashipu are now taking place all over the world because of demoniac governments. As stated in the 12th canto of Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, the men of the governments of Kali Yuga will be no better than rogues and plunderers. Thus, the populace will be harassed on one side by scarcity of food and another, so they'll be harassed by scarcity of food, and on the other side, by heavy taxation by the government. In other words, the people in most parts of the world in this age are harassed by the ruling principles of Hiranyakashipu. Shri Manava Uchu Manavo Vayam Tava Nideshakarina Dite Jena Deva Paribhuta Setava Bhavakalasa Upasanhrita Prabho Karavamate Kim Anushadi Kinkaran. All the Manus offered their prayers as follows. As your order carriers, O Lord, we, the Manus, are the lawgivers for human society. But because of the temporary supremacy of this great demon, Hiranyakashipu, our laws for maintaining Varnashram Dharma were destroyed. O Lord, now that you have killed this great demon, we are in our normal condition. Kindly order us, your eternal servants, what to do now. Purport. In many places in Bhagavad Gita, the Supreme Lord Krishna refers to the Varnashram Dharma of 4 Varnas and 4 Ashrams. He teaches people about this Varnashram Dharma so that all human society can live peacefully by observing the principles for the 4 social divisions, spiritual divisions, Varna and Ashram. And thus, they make advancement in spiritual knowledge. The Manus compiled the Manu Samhita. The word Samhita means Vedic knowledge, and Manu indicates that this knowledge is given by Manu. The Manus are sometimes incarnations of the Supreme Lord, and sometimes empowered living entities. Formerly, many long years ago, Lord Krishna instructed the Sun God. The Manus are generally sons of the Sun God. Therefore, while speaking to Arjuna about the importance of Bhagavad Gita, Krishna said, Imang vivasvate yogam proktavan aham avyayam vivasvan manave praha. It's Bhagavad Gita 4.1. This instruction was given to Vivasvan, the sun god, who in turn instructed his son Manu. Manu gave the law known as Nṛsiṁha, which is full of directions based on Varna and Ashram concerning how to live as a human being. These are very scientific ways of life, but under the rule of demons like Hiranyakashipu, human society breaks all these systems of law and order and gradually becomes lower and lower. Thus, there is no peace in the world. The conclusion is that if we want real peace and order in the human society, we must follow the principles laid down by the Manu Samhita and confirmed by the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna. Shri Prajāpataya Uchu Prajeshavayam te paresha pisrishta Nayena praja vaisrijamo nishidha Tatsa esha tvaya bhinavakshad nushete Jagan mangalam satamurte vatara. The Prajāpatis offered their prayers as follows. O Supreme Lord, Lord of even Brahma and Shiva, we, the Prajāpatis, were created by you to execute your orders. But we were forbidden by Hiranyakashipu to create any more good progeny. Now the demon is lying dead before us, his chest pierced by you. Let us therefore offer our respectful obeisances unto you, whose incarnation in this form of pure goodness is meant for the welfare of the entire universe. Shri Gandharva Uchu Vayam Vibhote Natanatya Gayaka Yenatmasad Virya Balo Jasa Krita Sa Esha Nito Bhavata Dasham Imam Kim Utpatasta Kushalaya Kalpe. The inhabitants of Gandharva-loka prayed, Your Lordship, we ever engage in your service by dancing and singing in dramatic performances. But this Hiranyakashipu, by the influence of his bodily strength and valor, brought us under his subjugation. Now he has been brought to this low condition by your Lordship. What benefit can result from the activities of such an upstart as Hiranyakashipu? Purport. By being a very obedient servant of the Supreme Lord, one becomes extremely powerful in bodily strength, influence, and effulgence, whereas the fate of demoniac upstarts is ultimately to fall down like Hiranyakashipu. Hiranyakashipu and persons like him may be very powerful for some time, but the obedient servants of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, like the demigod, remain powerful always. They are victorious over the influence of Hiranyakashipu by the grace of the Supreme Lord. Shri Cāraṇa Uchu Hare Tavangri Pankajam Bhava Pavargamashrita Yad Esha Sadhuhrichayas Tvaya Sura Samapita. The inhabitants of the Cāraṇa planet said, O Lord, because you have destroyed the demon Hiranyakashipu, who is always a stake in the hearts of all honest men, we are now relieved, and we eternally take shelter of your lotus feet, which award the conditioned soul liberation from materialistic contamination. Purport. The Supreme Personality of Godhead in its transcendental form of Narahari, Nṛsiṁha, is always ready to kill the demons who always create disturbances in the minds of honest devotees. To spread the Krishna consciousness movement, devotees have to face many dangers and impediments all over the world. But a faithful servant who preaches with great devotion to the Lord must know that Lord Nṛsiṁha is always his protector. Shri Yaksha Uchu Vayam Anuchara Mukhya Karam. Oh, sorry. What is this? I don't know the meter for this. Vayam Anuchara Mukhya Karma Biste Manogyais. I got it. Ta ihaditi sutena prapita vahakatvam satu jana paritapam tat kritam janatate narahara upanita panchatang panchavingsha. The inhabitants of Yakshaloka prayed, O controller of 24 elements, we are considered the best servants of your lordship because of rendering services pleasing to you. Yet we engaged as palanquin carriers by the order of Hiranyakashipu, the son of Diti. O Lord in the form of Nṛsiṁha, you know how this demon gave trouble to everyone, but now you have killed him, and his body is mixing with the 5 material elements. Purport. The Supreme Lord is the controller of the 10 senses, the 5 material elements, the 5 sense objects, the mind, the intelligence, the false ego, and the soul. Therefore, he is addressed as Pancha Vingsha, the 25th element. The inhabitants of the Yaksha planet are supposed to be the best of all servants, but Hiranyakashipu engaged them as palanquin carriers. The entire universe was in trouble because of Shipu. But now that Hiranyakashipu's body was mixing with the 5 material elements, earth, water, fire, air, and sky, everyone felt relief. Upon Hiranyakashipu's death, the Yakshas were reinstated in their original service to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Thus, they felt obliged to the Lord and offered their prayers. Shri Kimpurusha Uchu Vayam Kimpurusha Tvam Tu Mahapurusha Ishvara Ayam Kupurusho Nashto Dhikrita Sadhubir Yada. The inhabitants of Kimpurusha Loka said, we are insignificant living entities, and you are the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the Supreme Controller. Therefore, how can we offer suitable prayers unto you? When this demon was condemned by devotees because they were disgusted with him, he was then killed by you. Purport. The cause of the Supreme Lord's appearance upon this earth is stated in Bhagavad Gita, chapter 4, verses 7 and 8, by the Lord himself. Yada yada hi dharmasya glanir bhavati bharata abhyuttanam adharmasya tadatmanam srajamyaham paritranaya sadhunam vinashaya chadushkritam dharma samstapanarthaya bhavami yuge yuge. Whenever and wherever there is a decrease in religious principles and a predominant rise in irreligion, at that time I descend myself, to deliver the pious and annihilate the miscreants, as well as to re-establish the principles of religion. I advance myself, millennium after millennium. The Lord appears in order to execute 2 kinds of activities, to kill the demons and to protect the devotees. When too disturbed by the demons, the Lord certainly appears in different incarnations to give the devotees protection. The devotees following in the footsteps of Prahlāda Maharaj should not be disturbed by the demoniac activities of the non-devotees. Rather, they should stick to their principles as sincere servants of the Lord and rest assured that the demoniac activities directed against them will not be able to stop their devotional service. Shri Vaitālika Uchu Sabhasu Satreshu Tavan Malam Yasho Gitva Saparyam Mahatam Labhamahe Yastam Anaishid Vashamesha Durjano Vishta Hataste Bhagavanyata Maya. The inhabitants of Vaitālika Loka said, Dear Lord, because of chanting your spotless glories in great assemblies and arenas of sacrifice, we were accustomed to great respect from everyone. This demon, however, I don't know if he said usurped or usurped. Anyways, this demon, however, usurped that position. Now, to our great fortune, You have killed this great demon, exactly as one cures a chronic disease. Shri Kinnara Uchu, Vayam Isha Kinnara Ganastavanuga, Titi Jena Vishtim, Amunanu Karita, whatever, Bhavata Haresa, Vrijino Vasadito, Nṛsiṁha Nata, Vibhavayano Bhava. The Kinnaras said, O Supreme Controller, we are ever-existing servants of your Lordship, but instead of rendering service to you, we were engaged by this demon in his service constantly and without remuneration. This sinful man has now been killed by you. Therefore, O Lord Nṛsiṁha, our Master, we offer our respectful obeisances unto you. Please continue to be our patron. This is, okay. Shri Viṣṇu Parshada Uchu Adaita Dhari Nararupam Arbhutam Te Trishtam Nasharanada Sarvaloka Sharma So Yam Te Vidi Kara Isha Viprasaptas Tasyedam Nidhanamanugrahaya Vidma. The associates of Lord Viṣṇu and Vaikuntha offered this prayer. O Lord, our supreme giver of shelter, today we have seen your wonderful form as Lord Nṛsiṁha, meant for the good fortune of all the world. O Lord, we can understand that Hiranyakashipu was the same Jaya who engaged in your service but was cursed by Brahmins and who thus received the body of a demon. We understand that his having now been killed is your special mercy upon him. Purport. Hiranyakashipu's coming to this earth and acting as the Lord's enemy was pre-arranged. Jaya and Vijay were cursed by the Brahmins, Sanak, Sanat Kumar, Sanandana, and Sanatan, because Jaya and Vijay checked these 4 Kumaras. The Lord accepted this cursing of his servants and agreed that they would have to go to the material world and would then return to Vaikuntha after serving the term of the curse. Jaya and Vijay were very much perturbed, but the Lord advised them to act as enemies, for then they would return after 3 births. Otherwise, ordinarily, they would have had to take 7 births. With this authority, Jaya and Vijay acted as the Lord's enemies, and now that these 2 were dead, all the Viṣṇudutas understood that the Lord's killing of Hiranyakashipu was special mercy bestowed upon them. Thus ends the Bhaktivedanta purports of the 7th canto, 8th chapter of the Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, entitled Lord Nṛsiṁha Slays the King of the Demons. Alright, now we're beginning Chapter 9. Prahlāda pacifies Lord Nṛsiṁha with prayers. This is a long chapter. Let's see, it's like, I think it's like 25,000 words back. So we're going to be going through it throughout the next few days. It'll take us 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 days to get through this chapter. All right. Where was I? Yeah. And what did Rukmini say? I just saw comments there. Usurped. Okay, cool. Yeah. Yeah, that's a good point, Manjari. That must have been really... Okay. Yeah, I'm going to be traveling in the middle of this. Maybe but I'm going to be in the Japan. I'm going to be in the airport in Japan for 9 hours. I need to figure out what hours those are going to be. If that's going to be during our reading time, but maybe I can read in the airport if I find Wi-Fi there. All right. As related in this chapter, Prahlāda Maharaj, following the order of Lord Brahma, pacified the Lord when the Lord was extremely angry after having killed Hiranyakashipu. After Hiranyakashipu was killed, the Lord continued to be very angry, and the demigods, headed by Lord Brahma, could not pacify him. Even Mother Lakshmi, the goddess of fortune, the constant companion of Narayan, could not dare come before Lord Nṛsiṁha. Then Lord Brahma asked Prahlāda Maharaj to go forward and pacify the Lord's anger. Prahlāda Maharaj, being confident of the affection of his master, Lord Nṛsiṁha, was not afraid at all. He very gravely appeared before the Lord's lotus feet and offered him respectful obeisances. Lord Nṛsiṁha, being very much affectionate toward Prahlāda Maharaj, put his hand on Prahlād's head, and because of being personally touched by the Lord, Prahlāda Maharaj immediately achieved Brahma Gyan, spiritual knowledge. Thus, he offered his prayers to the Lord in full spiritual knowledge and full devotional ecstasy. The instructions given by Prahlāda Maharaj in the form of his prayers are as follows. Prahlāda said, I am not proud of being able to offer prayers to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. I simply take shelter of the mercy of the Lord, for without devotion, one cannot appease him. One cannot please the Supreme Personality of Godhead simply by dint of high parentage or great opulence, learning, austerity, penance, or mystic power. Indeed, these are never pleasing to the Supreme Lord, for nothing can please him but pure devotional service. Even if a non-devotee is a Brahmin qualified with the 12 Brahminical symptoms, he cannot be very dear to the Lord. Whereas if a person born in a family of dog-eaters is a devotee, the Lord can accept his prayers. The Lord does not need anyone's prayers, but if a devotee offers his prayers to the Lord, the devotee benefits greatly. It's a really important point, actually. The Lord, and we can apply that to Sri Guru. Guru doesn't need our service. Guru doesn't need our prayers. But it's our benefits that we are able to serve them. It's their mercy to us that they let us serve them and that we can offer prayers to them. Ignorant persons born in low families, therefore, can sincerely offer heartfelt prayers to the Lord, and the Lord will accept them. As soon as one offers his prayers to the Lord, he is immediately situated in the Brahman platform. Lord Nṛsiṁha appeared for the benefit of all human society, not only for Prahlād's, my personal benefit. The fierce form, is that Srila Prabhupada talking now? Maybe. The fierce form of Lord Nṛsiṁha may appear most awful to a non-devotee, but to the devotee, the Lord is always affectionate, as he is in other forms. Conditioned life in the material world is actually extremely fearful. Indeed, a devotee is not afraid of anything else. Fear of material existence is due to false ego. Therefore, the ultimate goal of life for every living entity is to attain the position of being a servant of the Lord. The miserable condition of the living entities in the material world can be remedied only by the mercy of the Lord. Although there are so-called material protectors like Lord Brahma and the other demigods, or even one's own father, they are unable to do anything if one is neglected by the Supreme Personality of Godhead. However, one who has fully taken shelter of the Lord's lotus feet can be saved from the onslaught of material nature. Therefore, every living entity should be unattracted by material so-called happiness, and should take shelter of the Lord by all means. That is the mission of human life. To be attracted by sense gratification is simply foolish. Whether one is a devotee of the Lord or is a non-devotee does not depend upon one's birth in a high or low family. Even Lord Brahma and the goddess of fortune cannot achieve the full favor of the Lord, whereas a devotee can very easily attain such devotional service. The Lord's mercy is bestowed equally upon everyone, regardless of whether one is high or low. Because Prahlāda Maharaj was blessed by Narad Muni, Prahlāda became a great devotee. The Lord always saves the devotees from impersonalists and voidists. The Lord is present in everyone's heart as a supersoul to give the living being protection and all benefits. Thus the Lord acts sometimes as a killer and sometimes as a protector. One should not accuse the Lord for any discrepancies. It is his plan that we see varieties of life within this material world. All of them are ultimately his mercy. Although the entire cosmic manifestation is non-different, the material world is nonetheless different from the spiritual world. Only by the mercy of the Supreme Lord can one understand how the wonderful material nature acts. For example, although Lord Brahma appeared from the lotus seeds that had grown from the abdomen of Garbhodakṣa Viṣṇu, he could not understand what to do after his appearance. He was attacked by two demons, Madhu and Kaitava, who took away Vedic knowledge, but the Lord killed them and entrusted to Lord Brahma the Vedic knowledge. Thus the Lord appears in every millennium in the societies of demigods, human beings, animals, saints, and aquatics. All such incarnations are meant to protect the devotees and kill the demons, but this killing and protecting does not reflect any sense of partiality on the part of the Supreme Lord. The conditioned soul is always attracted by the external energy. Therefore, he is subjected to lust and greed, and he suffers under the conditions of material nature. The Lord's causeless mercy toward his devotee is the only means by which to get out of material existence. Anyone engaged in glorifying the Lord's activities is always unafraid of this material world, whereas one who cannot glorify the Lord in that way is subjected to all lamentation. Those interested in silently worshipping the Lord in solitary places may be eligible for liberation themselves, but a pure devotee is always aggrieved to see the others suffering. They are paradukha dukhi. Therefore, not caring for his own liberation, he always engages in preaching by glorifying the Lord. Prahlāda Maharaj, therefore, had tried to deliver his class friends by preaching and had never remained silent. Although being silent, observing austerities and penances, learning the Vedic literature, undergoing ritualistic ceremonies, living in a solitary place, and performing japa and transcendental meditation, even though these are approved means of liberation, they are meant for non-devotees or for the cheaters who want to live at the expense of others. A pure devotee, however, being freed from all such deceptive activities, is able to see the Lord face to face. Wow, okay. The atomic theory of the composition of the cosmic manifestation is not factual. The Lord is the cause of everything, and therefore, he is the cause of this creation. One should therefore always engage in devotional service by offering respectful obeisances to the Lord, offering prayers, working for the Lord, worshipping the Lord in the temple, always remembering the Lord, and always hearing about his transcendental activities. Without these 6 kinds of activity, one cannot attain to devotional service. Prahlāda Maharaj thus offered his prayers to the Supreme Lord, begging his mercy at every step. Lord Nṛsiṁha was pacified by Prahlāda Maharaj's prayers and wanted to give him benedictions by which Prahlāda could procure all kinds of material facilities. Prahlāda Maharaj, however, was not misled by material facilities. Rather, he wanted to remain always a servant of the Lord. Shri Narad Uvacha. What time is it? 7:50. Oh my God, we only have 10 minutes. Anyways, let's see. Is it okay if I go over like 7 minutes? Shri Narad Uvacha Evam Suradaya Sarve Brahma Rudra Purasara No Paitum Ashakan Manyu Sangrambham Sudurasadam. The great saint Narad Muni continued. The demons, headed by Lord Brahma, Lord Shiva, and other great demigods, dared not come forward before the Lord, who at that time was extremely angry. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. Srila Narottam Das Thakur has sung in his Prem Bhakti Chandrika, Krodha Bhakta Dveshi Jane. Anger should be used to punish a demon who is envious of devotees. Kama, Krodha, Lobha, Moha, Mada, and Matsarya, lust, anger, greed, illusion, pride, and envy, all have their proper use for the Supreme Personality of Godhead and his devotee. A devotee of the Lord cannot tolerate blasphemy of the Lord or his other devotees, and the Lord also cannot tolerate the blasphemy of a devotee. Thus, Lord Nṛsiṁha was so very angry that the great demigods like Lord Brahma and Lord Shiva and even the goddess of fortune, who is the Lord's constant companion, could not pacify him, even after offering prayers of glorification and praise. No one was able to pacify the Lord in his anger. But because the Lord was willing to exhibit his affection for Prahlāda Maharaj, all the demigods and the others present before the Lord pushed Prahlāda Maharaj forward to pacify him. Let me see if the internet's still working because the power went out. Yes, it is still working. Great. Okay, Prajāpati Prabhu, Hari Bol. Sakshat Shri Preshita Devar Drishtva Tam Maharar Bhutam Adrishta Shruta Purvatvat Sanopeyaya Shankita. The goddess of fortune Lakshmiji was requested to go before the Lord by all the demigods present, who, because out of fear, could not do so. But even she had never seen such a wonderful and extraordinary form of the Lord, and thus she could not approach him. Purport. The Lord has unlimited forms and bodily features. Advaitam Achyutam Anadim Anantarupam. It's Brahma Samhita, verse 33. These are all situated in Vaikuntha. Yet Lakshmi Devi, the goddess of fortune, being inspired by Leela Shakti, could not appreciate this unprecedented form of the Lord. In this regard, Srila Madhvacharya recites the following verses from the Brahmanda Puran. Adrishta Shruta Purvatvad Anyay Sadharanair Janay Nṛsiṁham Shankiteva Shrir Loko Moha Yano Yayo Prahlāde Chaiva Vatsalya Darshanaya Harerapi Gyatva Manas Tatha Brahma Prahlādam Preshayat Tada Ekatraikasya Vatsalyam Visheshad Darshayed Dhari Avarasyapi Mohaya Krame Naivakpi Vatsala. In other words, for the common men, the form of the Lord as Nṛsiṁha is certainly unseen and wonderful. But for a devotee like Prahlāda Maharaj, such a fearsome form of the Lord is not at all extraordinary. By the grace of the Lord, a devotee can very easily understand how the Lord can appear in any form he likes. Therefore, the devotee is never afraid of such a form. Because of special favor bestowed upon Prahlāda Maharaj, he remains silent and unafraid, even though all the demigods, including even Lakshmi Devi, were afraid of Lord Nṛsiṁha. Narayana para sarve nakutaśchana bibhyati. Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam 6:17-28. Not only is a pure devotee of Narayan like Prahlāda Maharaj unafraid of any dangerous condition of material life, but also if the Lord appears to mitigate the fear of a devotee, the devotee maintains his status of fearlessness in all circumstances. Prahlādam preshayan asa brahmavastitam antike tata prashamayopehi swapitre kupitam prabhum. Thereafter, Lord Brahma requested Prahlāda Maharaj, who was standing very near him. My dear son, Lord Nṛsiṁha is extremely angry at your demoniac father. Please go forward and appease the Lord. Tateti Shanakai Rajan Mahabhagavator Bhaka Upetya Bhuvikayena Nanama Vitritanjali. Narad Muni continued, O king, although the exalted devotee Prahlāda Maharaj was only a little boy, he accepted Lord Brahma's words. He gradually proceeded toward Lord Nṛsiṁha and fell down to offer his respectful obeisances with folded hands. Sapadamole patitam tamarbhakam vilokya deva kripaya paripluta utapyata chirshnyadadhat karam bhujam kalahi vitrasta dhyankrita bhayam. When Lord Nṛsiṁha saw the small boy Prahlāda Maharaj prostrated at the soles of his lotus feet, he became most ecstatic in affection toward his devotee. Raising Prahlāda, the Lord placed his lotus hand upon the boy's head because his hand is always ready to create fearlessness in all of his devotees. Purport. The necessities of the material world are four: ahar, nidra, bhaya, and maituna, eating, sleeping, defending, and mating. In this material world, everyone is in fearful consciousness, sadasa mudvigna dhyam. And the only means to make everyone fearless is Krishna consciousness. When Lord Nṛsiṁha appeared, all the devotees became fearless. The devotee's hope of becoming fearless is to chant the holy name of Lord Nṛsiṁha. Yato yato yamitato Nṛsiṁha. Wherever we go, we must always think of Lord Nṛsiṁha. Thus, there will be no fear for the devotee of the Lord. Satatkara sparsha duta kila shubha sapadabhi vyakta paratma darshana tatpada parmam hridi nirvrito dadho hrishyat tanu klina hridashrulochana. By the touch of Lord Nṛsiṁha's hand on Prahlāda Maharaja's head, Prahlāda was completely freed of all material contaminations and desires, as if he had been thoroughly cleansed. Therefore, he at once became transcendently situated, and all the symptoms of ecstasy became manifest in his body. His heart filled with love, and his eyes with tears, and thus he was able to completely capture the lotus feet of the Lord within the core of his heart. Purport. As stated in Bhagavad Gita 14.26, Mam chayo vyabhicharena bhakti yogena sevate sagunan samatityaitan brahma bhuyaya kalpate. Srila Prabhupada quotes this so much. One who engages in full devotional service, who does not fall down in any circumstance, at once transcends the modes of material nature and thus comes to the level of Brahman. Elsewhere in Bhagavad Gita 9.32, the Lord says, Mam hi partha vyapashrita ye pisyu papayonayo striyo vaishas tata shudras te piyanti param gatim. O son of Pritha, those who take shelter in me, though they may be of lower birth, women, Vaishyas, merchants, as well as Shudras, workers, can approach the supreme destination. On the strength of these verses from Bhagavad Gita, it is evident that although Prahlāda Maharaj was born in a demoniac family, and although virtually demoniac blood flowed within his body, he was cleansed of all material bodily contamination because of his exalted position as a devotee. In other words, such impediments on the spiritual path could not stop him from progressing, for he was directly in touch with the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Those who are physically and mentally contaminated by atheism cannot be situated on the transcendental platform. But as soon as one is freed from material contamination, he is immediately fit to be situated in devotional service. Asto shid dharmekagra manasa susamahita prema karka daya vacha tanyasta hridayekshana. Prahlāda Maharaj fixed his mind and sight upon Lord Nṛsiṁha with full attention in complete trance. With a fixed mind, he began to offer prayers and love with a faltering voice. Purport. The word susamahita means very attentive or fully fixed. The ability to fix the mind in this way is a result of yoga siddhi, mystic perfection. As it is stated in Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam 12.13.1, Dhyana vastita tar gatena manasa pashyanti yam yogina. One attains yogic perfection when he is freed from all material diversions and his mind is fixed upon the lotus feet of the Lord. This is called samadhi, or trance. Prahlāda Maharaj attained that stage beyond the senses. Because he was engaged in service, he felt transcendentally situated, and naturally, his mind and attention became saturated in transcendence. In that condition, he began to offer his prayers as follows. And we will read his prayers tomorrow. जय। श्री नृसिंह भगवान की जय। भक्त प्रभार श्री प्रहलाद महाराज की जय। नमस्ते नरसिंहाय प्रह्लादलाददायिने हिरण्यकाशिपूर्वक्षः शीलताङ्कनकालये इतो नृसिंहो परतो नृसिंहो यतो यतो यामिततो नृसिंहो बाह्ये नृसिंहो हृदये नृसिंहो नरसिंहमदिं शरणं प्रपदे तव करकमलवरे नखमर्बुतशृङ्गं दलिता हिरण्यकशिपो तनुभृङ्गं केशवधृता नरहरिरूप जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे तव करकमलवरे नखो अर्बुतशृङ्गं दलिता हिरण्यकशिपो तनुभृङ्गं केशवधृता नरहरिरूप जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे केशवधृता नरहरिरूप जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे केशवधृता नरहरिरूप जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम राम हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम राम हरे हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम राम हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम राम हरे हरे जय नृसिंहदेव जय नृसिंहदेव नृसिंहदेव जय नृसिंहदेव जय नृसिंहदेव 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 जय नृसिंहदेव जय भक्त प्रह्लाद भक्त प्रह्लाद भक्त प्रह्लाद जय भक्त प्रह्लाद जय भक्त प्रह्लाद भक्त प्रह्लाद भक्त प्रह्लाद जय भक्त हरि बोल हरि बोल हरि बोल निताय बोल हरि बोल निताय बोल हरि बोल हरि बोल हरि बोल गौर हरि बोल। जय श्री सच्चिनंदन गौर हरि की जय। Shri Shri Radha Vinod Bihari Ju Ki Jai, Shri Govinda Gopinath Madan Mohan Ju Ki Jai, Shri Nṛsiṁha Bhagavan Ki Jai, Bhakta Pravar Shri Prahlāda Maharaj Ki Jai, Nitil Pravishtam Vishnupara Shatarashatashmad, Srila Bhakti Vedanta Narayan Gosai Maharaj Srila Gurudev Ki Jai, Nitil Pravishtam Vishnupara Ashatarashatashmad, Srila Bhakti Vedanta Vaman Gosai Maharaj Ki Jai, Nitil Pravishtam Vishnupara Shatarashatashmad, Srila Bhakti Vedanta Swami Maharaj Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai, Nitil Pravishtam Vishnupara Srila Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Gosai Maharaj Ki Jai, Nitil Pravishtam Vishnupara Shatarashatashmad, Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Gosai Prabhupada Ki Jai, Nitil Pravishta Mahabhagavat Srila Gorkshadas Babaji Maharaj Ki Jai, Nitil Pravishta Srila Satchidananda Bhakti Vinod Thakur Ki Jai, Nitil Pravishta Vaishnav Sarvabhauma Srila Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj Ki Jai, Shri Rupanu Gauriya Guru Varga Ki Jai, Shri Rup Sanatan Bhatta Raghunath Shri Jiv Gopal Patadash Raghunath Shrada Gosai Prabhu Ki Jai, Shri Sarup Damodar Rai Ramanandari Shri Gaur Parshad Vrinda Ki Jai, Namacharya Shri Haridas Thakur Ki Jai, Prem Se Kaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai, Shri Kshetra Mandala Gaura Mandala Vraja Mandala Mathura Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai, Sarva Abhishta Pradakta Giriraj Maharaj Ki Jai, Shri Radha Kund Shama Kund Yamuna Ganga Tulsi Bhakti Devi Ki Jai, Shri Harinam Sankirtan Ki Jai, Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Jai, Samagata Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai, Shri Nṛsiṁha Bhagavan Ki Jai, Shri Bhakta Raj Prahlāda Maharaj Ki Jai, Shri Grantharaj Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam Ki Jai, Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Jai, Samagata Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai, Shri Nitai Gaura Premanande Hari Hari Vo. Vrindai Tulsi Devai Priyai Keshavashaja Krishna Bhakti Pradadevi Sattvatai Namo Namaha. Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhya eva cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Dandavat pranams, everybody. I'm going to figure out what time I'm going to be in Japan. Let's see if I can continue our Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam reading. That would be cool. Give me something to do in the airport also while I'm waiting for 9 hours. Oh my God. On my way back, I have to wait 18 hours in the airport. All right. See you all tomorrow. Jai Shri.